Hello everyone, and welcome to your video on squaring binomials. So before I teach you anything, I'm just going to give you a quiz. Pretend like this is your problem, m minus 3 quantity squared, and here are your options. What do you think the right answer is? It's okay, really, I'm going to wait while you figure this out for just a sec. Yes, I'm still waiting. You're supposed to be working. Okay, even if you haven't figured it out yet, pick the one that looks the most correct to you. And then let's talk about our options. Okay, so the one that I will say is most frequently picked by students would be either A or B. B would be the most correct, by the way, because squaring the negative is going to give you a positive. But these are actually both wrong. And these are wrong because of laziness. You tried to do it in your head and you just said, oh yeah, look at m squared minus 3 squared, yes, and no, wrong, lazy and wrong. Okay? Some of you might have picked this one down here, and this one is also wrong. And this one isn't lazy and wrong, this is just wrong and wrong. Here, I don't know what you were doing. You were taking this 2 and sticking it in front of the m, but then you still squared this, so you multiplied this by 2 and you squared. I don't know what you were thinking. You were wrong, and that was bad. Okay, so that leaves us with C, which is complicated looking, but it is also right. And that is the whole point of this video. When you have a binomial, which remember is just a term that has 2 little terms inside of it. When you have a binomial and you are squaring it, as in this case, it cannot really be done in your head. Because what this means, m minus 3 quantity squared, is it means m minus 3 times m minus 3. And then once you see it written out like this, you should easily be able to say, oh, I get it. I have to FOIL this out, right? I'm not able to just do it in my head. And so then when you FOIL this, you get m squared, that's m times m, then m times negative 3 gives you negative 3m, negative 3 times m gives you another negative 3m, and negative 3 times negative 3 gives you a positive 9. So simplifying these like terms, m squared minus 6m plus 9. That is the correct answer to this problem. Now, here's an interesting thing about students. I would say probably 80% of you are going to say, oh, I get it. I have to write it like this and FOIL it out and get the complicated answer. But there will be 15 to 20% of you who are just going to insist that you can do the squaring of binomials in your head, and that somehow one of these answers is going to be right. I mean, I don't know why this persists in the thought of students, but I have students who will pick this over and over and over again because they're just sure, I don't know, that somehow this should equal one of these. Don't be fooled. Be smart. Here, let's do another example. Let's make it harder than that. Let's do 4y plus 8 quantity squared. So what is that going to equal? Well, hopefully you're not going to try to do it in your head. I mean, come on. Okay, so we're going to say 4y plus 8 times 4y plus 8, and then we're going to FOIL this out, right? Of course. Oops. I made my FOIL a little messy, but in any event, I am going to get 4y times 4y gives me 16y squared, 4y times 8 gives me 32y, 8 times 4y gives me another 32y, and 8 times 8 gives me a positive 64. Combining like terms, that gives me 16y squared plus 64y plus 64. Now we get to another part of, potential wrong turns when it comes to solving these problems. Do you see how these numbers here match? Yeah, so those students who are insistent that they can do this squaring of binomials in their head will often try to make all of their answers match like that. But let's just go back here and you'll see that those numbers do not always match. Here, they're not even both positive. Here we have a -6 and a +9. So those are very different numbers. Okay, so my point here is that I don't want you to be lazy and I don't want you to be wrong. I want you to accept the fact that multiplying binomials together is fairly complicated, probably cannot be done in your head, but you can get them all right.